Hi, I'm Claudia Brown Coulter with Pivotal Peace. I'm the go-to mediator for navigating divorce while parenting children with special needs, and I'm also a legal document assistant, LDA, based in the greater Los Angeles area. Welcome to Q&A Wednesdays. Today's question is, how long is this going to take? I don't know. How long is it going to take? I mean, it's up to you. But seriously, it really is up to you. The court has a minimum deadline, but it could take longer than that, for sure. Okay, so let's get into it. So there's a mandatory waiting period of 6 months and 1 day. And the 6 months does not start the day you file for divorce. The 6 months starts the day your spouse is served. And if your spouse is served through the mail and they have to sign a notice of acknowledgement, the 6 months starts the date that paperwork is dated. So if they get it and they let it sit there for a month, and they're just ignoring you, the clock has not started. Okay, so, right now, I like to get the clock started as soon as possible and then work on the divorce. I know that there are other folks who like to get all of the divorce taken care of, everything agreed upon, and then file, and they don't get the clock started until then. You know, if you've got everything agreed upon, that's fine too. But I just find most people like the clock to be ticking. They want that clock to start because they want to know that there's an end date in mind, and it helps keep them motivated to keep going. Part of the reason for this waiting period is sometimes people reconcile, and every state has a different sort of waiting period. It could be that you have to be separated for a year and then you can get a divorce, but then once you file for divorce, there is no waiting period. So the waiting period comes before. So, and you know, ours is long, it's 6 months, but others, others are shorter or long. It really varies. But it's not uncommon for people to reconcile. People need time to gather documents and really get themselves prepared to go through this process. So some things that can extend the timeline is that your case is complicated and y'all just can't agree. You just can't agree. Or it's like the video I did yesterday that you watched yesterday, which was like they're hiding assets and now I have to get an attorney and now I have to do discovery. I've got to get a forensic accountant. I've got to spend all of this money to figure out what they're hiding. That's going to delay things, but it might be worth it. It might be worth it, okay? So everything is relative, okay? So if your schedules, if you just can't get to mediation, you just can't get things scheduled, and that's going to cause a delay. Or maybe you are in a profession where it's high stress, and so when you are off of work, you don't want to mediate, and then when you are on work, you don't want to mediate, and so you're dragging your feet for whatever reason. And spouses drag their feet all of the time. They don't do the paperwork for whatever reason. So you want to hopefully have a spouse that, they want to divorce you. I know that sounds terrible, right? But they want to divorce you. Let's get this done, son. Let's do this. Let's get divorced. That's the best case scenario. And so you're working together separately on your parts of divorce. That's ideal. If things get kind of contentious and then you end up in court and you're fighting, that's going to cause a delay. The very nature of going to court for the most part is going to cause a delay because courts are overloaded. They're not doing anything wrong. There isn't enough to go around. The judges are stressed. They have a huge caseload. So it's going to take some time. You can get on their calendar. It's going to take us some time. So that, just real quick, let me just run down the divorce process, because you can start the clock. You can file for divorce, get your spouse served. Clock is started. And while that clock is going, if your spouse wants to file a response, they can. You both start working on your financial disclosures, serve your spouse with those. That doesn't need to be, you don't need to get a process server to do that. That's more informal than the official service of divorce papers. So you're working on your financial disclosures. You get those to your spouse. Any supporting documents like bank statements and things like that to your spouse. They get you theirs, and then you get that filed in court. And then you work on your agreement once you guys have agreed on everything. And the financial disclosures are really great as you're working on your agreement to make sure you didn't miss anything. And just so you know, when Los Angeles looks at your final agreement, they want details. They want to know what your license plate number is. If you're putting a car on there, you need to put the license plate number or the VIN number. They want to know the last 4 digits of the bank account. So if you got like a whole bunch of Wells Fargo's bank accounts, they're going to need the last 4 digits of those. Other courts don't want that. LA wants that. So if you come to me and like, why are you being so nosy? Oh, I mean, we could see if it'll go through without it, or we could just put it on there and make them happy. Also, once you reach your agreement, then you get it sent to the court. And once the court approves the judgment, then they will stamp it, the date that they received the paperwork, the date that the judge signed the paperwork, and then the date that you are returned to single status. You can get that done in less than 6 months and then just wait on the judge, and the judge can sign it and future date it. It's like my favorite thing to see. It's so fun. It's like, oh, you're done. You're just not divorced until October. Okay, cool. Goody. Yay. Let's start planning your divorce party. So how can you keep going through this as quickly as possible, especially if you and your spouse are like, yeah, I love you, but I love myself, and we're going to be done. You want to stay organized. You want to get as organized as possible. So if you're not an organized person, get a friend who is organized, who will help you organize, get yourself organized, because you want to keep all important documents, especially as it relates to divorce. You want to gather your financial documents. The best time to do that is as they come through the mail, put them to the side so that when it's time, that's the part that hangs everybody up. And when it's time to do your financial disclosures, you're overwhelmed, but not you. People are overwhelmed, but not you, because you have all your stuff at your fingertips. I tell people this all the time. One day, someone is going to listen to me, and it's going to be so easy for them. Okay. You want to communicate clearly with your spouse without bullying them. Okay. And then maybe just send an email. If talking is too rough, send an email. You want to consider mediation. If you are stuck on a couple issues, come talk to me. I'll help you get unstuck. I'll help you see things through a different lens. Let's get unstuck, though. Getting unstuck is going to get you back on the road to your divorce. All right. You also want to seek legal advice. If you're worried about something, if you don't know if what your spouse gave you was a good offer or if they're doing something shady, go consult with an attorney. I know people. Come talk to me. I will get you some referrals to some great attorneys in the area. Come on. All right. Set little deadlines for yourself. You know, there's an informal deadline. I mean, it's okay. I shouldn't say it's an informal deadline, but there is a deadline that the financial disclosures need to be served and completed, served and filed within 60 days of the date of the petition. Not the date of service, but the date the petition was filed. So if you use that as a guideline, it can kind of help you stay on target. Now, if you guys are working together and you go a little bit past that, it's generally okay. But if you think about that, oh, that's a guideline. Okay, so I filed this petition in my, now the very next thing I need to do is work on my financial disclosures, or my spouse served me the petition. I'm going to file a response or not, and then I'm going to start working on these disclosures. And it's a timeline here for you so that you can stay on track. It's setting the pace for you. Use the help of a legal document assistant as well. They can help you stay on track. They can help you get that complicated paperwork done faster and more correct. Get it done correct. So the court would be like, oh, thank you, stamped, filed, next. All right, if you guys have questions, more questions for Q&A Wednesday, let me know below. It doesn't have to take as long as you think it needs to take. Work with your spouse and try to get this done sooner rather than later. Have a great day.